the McDonald's Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Well, you guys, it's July 24th, Thursday, and we made it. I'm actually recording this on the 23rd. But as you know, on July 22nd, Lori Vallow, who is standing trial for the murder of her 2 children with her 5th husband, Prophet Chad, whatever his last name is. Anyway, she had said that the world was going to end on July 22nd. The way things are going this year, a lot of people thought she could be right. I encourage you all to eat your best meal, drink your best booze. I had people writing in, they were opening Camus. If you know Camus, it's a really good red wine, over $100 a bottle, good for you. People went and made lobster tail, steak, went to restaurants. I was kind of busy and was actually really tired, but I got the Costco enchiladas, chicken enchiladas, which was like pre-made, like you just stick them in the oven and it's like a homemade meal. It's not as good as Sheena from Vanderpump Rules chicken enchiladas, and a lot of you were like, really? That's your final meal? It was, because I didn't really believe it was the end of the world. Besides, it was delicious and Brandon enjoyed them too. Okay. But Kanye, I don't know if he believes it's the end of the world or not. He has been really going crazy, and in the clearly the definition of the word crazy, unfortunately, for the last few days. So he did a rally, and at the rally to become president in South Carolina, to recap, people were very shocked to hear him say, in tears, I almost killed my daughter. Meaning when Kim, who he was not married to at the time, told him she was pregnant, his first thought was, let's get an abortion. And he said, thank God for Kim. She said no. And now I have this beautiful daughter. And he's just, showing a lot of emotion and guilt that he ever thought about it, which was really quite shocking to have someone say that out loud, and being so honest about it. So he did a lot of tweets that night, and then removed them. And then he tweeted the other day, after this, Dave Chappelle came to visit me. You see a photo of him smiling with Dave Chappelle, the comedian, and a couple other friends of his on some type of ranch. I don't know if they're at the Wyoming ranch, but I didn't know Dave and he were friends. But for those of you who don't know, besides Dave Chappelle being a brilliant comedian, he really just became a huge star when he had this show on Comedy Central that was a very funny sketch show that has some of the most edgy, thought-provoking sketches that we had ever seen, and everybody loved him, and they offered him this huge 5-year deal to continue his show on Comedy Central. I want to say it was $50 million, but it was sort of unprecedented at the time for television. And he was a young guy, early 30s, and he quit show business. He left. He went to some ranch as well. People thought, did Dave Chappelle lose his mind? And then he came back about 7 or 8 years later, with his children and his wife, being again a brilliant comedian. So I don't know if maybe he has suffered with some type of mental breakdown and he found a lot of empathy for Kanye. But I thought Dave Chappelle saved the day. Kanye seems fine. Until last night. Last night, Kim, his wife, sent on Instagram story or all her platforms, a very well written statement about, you all know that Kanye has bipolar disorder and has been dealing with it for years. And she kind of explains what it is. And there is delusions of grandeur, but some of his things have come true. He's always dreamed big. But as you know, it has come true. I try to step away from the genius that is my husband, but it is serious and it's very hard to deal with, especially when a loved one in your family has this disorder and they're an adult. Like a Britney Spears, like a Kanye West, and that's why, mental illness is the hardest thing. If he was a drug addict, they could go to rehab. And once he was sober, he'd say, oh, sorry for all those crazy, mean things I said. It was the heroin talking. Well, he's not a drug addict. And when you give someone medication, anyone that knows this, which everybody pretty much knows somebody that has suffered with mental illness, they start to feel better. And the minute they start to feel better, they say, oh, I don't need this drug anymore. I feel great. And then they have a psychotic episode. And, everybody's different. Some people can be just really cruel to their loved ones. And that is what is appearing to be here. So she writes a statement, please respect our privacy and this and that. Well, the whole world is talking about it, including me. But he starts writing in response to hers, where it's only love and respect for Kanye. We are trying to get him better, all of that. Nothing about leaving him or anything like that is what she writes. He starts to say, all this is from Ye, which is the Kanye West Twitter, says the future president, Kris and Kim, which is weird because he spells Chris's name with 2 S's, put out a statement without my approval. That's not what a wife should do. White supremacy. So now he's referring to Kris and Kim as white supremacists, which is very weird because he's also had a weird thing where he said slavery was a choice, that the slaves chose to be enslaved 400 years ago. So he's also said that. Then he writes, Meek is my man and was respectful. That's my dog. Kim was out of line. I'm worth $5 billion and more than that through Christ, but you ain't listened to MJ and now you all believe them. So this was very confusing. Meek is some rapper. He also referred in another tweet that Meek and Kim met at the Waldorf Astoria to talk about prison reform. I don't know if he's insinuating that something non-professional happened between the two of them. And then he brings up MJ. I don't know if he's talking about Michael Jackson or MJ, Kris Jenner's mother. I don't know what that poor woman has done anything to piss off Kanye, but we don't know who he's talking about. Then he goes on to just Larsa and a happy face. Larsa is Larsa Pippen, who is best friends with Kim and Kourtney. We've noticed she hasn't been showing up as much. We noticed they haven't been tweeting back and posting each other as much. She is one of those friends of the family that then emerged looking like them. She didn't just borrow their look, she borrowed their face and ass. So she's gotten a lot of work done. She's a divorced mother of 4 from a basketball player. We saw her on the Netflix show. She's one of those people that appears on every reality show acting like they're looking for a house, but they never buy anything. So she must have been thrilled that she was mentioned. No mention of Food God, by the way. No Jonathan in any of this. So he's probably not too happy. Then he writes MJ. We still don't know if we're talking about Michael Jackson or Mary Jo, who is, I think her name is Mary Jo, but we just call her MJ, who is Chris's mother. MJ told you about Tommy before they killed him. We don't know who Tommy is. Kim saved my daughter's life in the name of Jesus. We understand that. It's God's choice only. Well, no, it was Kim's choice, but okay. I will live for my children. I'm sure you will. Kris, I'm in Cody if you're not planning another one of your children's Playboy shoots. He also 2 days ago brought up these Playboy shoots. My kids will never be in Playboy. Again, Kanye, Playboy is done. The magazine has folded. They sold the mansion. Hugh Hefner is dead. Kind of interestingly, his son, I believe it's his older son, is running for either a Senate seat or a congressional, I think it's a congressional seat out of California. I just saw an ad for it. He seems like a pretty nice, normal guy. So you don't have to worry about him going to Hidden Hills and knocking on your door other than for a vote. But he's not going to try to recruit North in 10 years, so you can relax on that. White supremacy at its highest cap, again with the white supremacy. Then he says that he refers to Kris Jenner as Kris Jong-un. And I have a photo here on my YouTube that someone put together. It's not me who did it. That put Chris's beautiful face on Kim Jong-un's body with his haircut. And it's pretty brilliant. It's a pretty great Photoshop. Okay, so this is where we are with it now. We don't know where he is. I guess they did try. In one of his tweets, he said that they tried to come and get him committed for a 5150. It's just, I think he's been showing signs of this for a very, very long time. And people have talked about it at least in the last year or so. But even like 5 years ago, I just think they kind of went along with his craziness, thinking it was genius. I mean, the clothing line, come on, you guys. Those outfits look like people were like in torn in the Middle East, like with literally dust bombs on their clothes, and people were buying it and they were modeling it. And it was truly like the emperor has no clothes. No one brought up the fact that this stuff is ugly and we don't get it. But you all wore the Yeezy shoes. Kim had to stop wearing her cute outfits. She had to only wear biker shorts and big bulky sweatshirts. She had to wear heavy, heavy jackets that you'd wear in Chicago, which is where he's from, in 103-degree weather in the valley. So she would just wear like a little bralette under it just so her armpits could breathe. She put up with it. She didn't let her children wear colored clothes. She had to paint everything nude and nothing hung on the walls. She's gone along with it, but I think this might be the out. Now, I am just saying my celebrity prediction, unfortunately. I think this might be her out, because anybody that's in Kim's position, whether you're as wealthy and famous as Kim or whether you're living in a small home with a bipolar husband, I think you can really empathize with Kim in that this is very hard. This is a struggle. This is a nightmare. I don't think she'll ever take her kids from seeing him, but by documenting and having the world document these psychotic episodes, if she does decide to do an official separation, I think this is almost a safer way, because then when he does see the kids, she will have people, professional people, whether they're nannies or therapists or whatever, or security, to always be with those kids with him. I'm not saying he would hurt them, but imagine if you're her and you're giving your 4 kids away to a guy that's saying this. And oftentimes people that don't have the resources have to do that because the court says it. And so I'm glad that she's got her legal background, that she's got her money, and I believe she has a good heart, and it's really about protecting the kids. And so we'll see this unfold, but it's really sad. I think that the Kardashians are handling it right. And, but again, it's just, very difficult when someone's an adult, which is true. Okay, you guys, Chrissy Teigen, I got some shit, especially on my YouTube, that I said, I don't think she's a pedophile. I think she's trying to be funny. And a lot of people said, you're wrong, Heather, this is really serious. Now, I want to say, I love that there are YouTubes and Twitters and, like the guest I have coming up, of people that take the law and investigation in their own hands, using their own resources, whether it's, the Wayfair pedophile ring that people have shown really strong proof of, and they say that I'm crazy for bringing that up. I think it's great. And I think anyone can go down the rabbit holes and decide what you want. That's the freedom. The fact that mainstream media doesn't report the amount of pedophile arrests that have happened around the world. Huge pedophile rings have happened, arrests around the world, all different countries in the last 6 months, like never before. And you're not hearing it. And I recognize that. So, but I was just saying there's a lot then that goes extra far where there's really no proof of it. And I do think, and that's my personal opinion, but I don't know everything. You can send it to me. But I encourage everybody, go look down any path you want. You're allowed to. I don't like it when Twitter removes certain accounts because they think because they think it's conspiracy and that we're not allowed to hear that. Anyone can say what they want. And so I'm not for any kind of censorship. But, there's a level to it. Like I said, there's a level to all of which Hollywood people could possibly be involved in this. We know there's bad people in Hollywood. We know that. But, until I see that Chrissy Teigen and Tom Hanks and Oprah sat down to a meal of a baby, it's going to be hard for me to believe that extreme of it. So maybe there's a level of it, maybe there's nothing, or maybe there's just jokes that she thought was funny 10 years ago that clearly aren't funny now. So, I'm just saying, don't get mad at me. All right, let's get into 90 Day the Other Way. You guys, this has been very fun and a new way to see the show. Again, I know people are disillusioned with America. I can't believe anybody would leave America to go to these countries. I don't understand why they're going. I don't know if it's because it's hard to get your loved one here or they're sick of America, but it's pretty amazing. And the first couple we have is Biniam and Ariella, and she went to Ethiopia to do a work study or something, met a hot Ethiopian, got pregnant, and now she and her mother, who's a nurse, are there, and she's insisting on giving birth in Ethiopia. And the nurse mother is like absolutely horrified at the conditions. And I can't imagine if I was the mother. And it's just pretty sad. Okay, then this is pretty juicy. Jenny, She's 62 or 3. She lives in Palm Springs, and she met Summit, who is going through a divorce. But here's the juicy part. She revealed on the episode that she took his virginity. So that means when he was married to his first wife, who he's trying to divorce, he didn't bone her. And he lost his virginity in his mid-30s to 63-year-old Jenny. Good for you, good for you. Okay, so then we have, and I guess the point is get married there. Then when you're married there, then you can come over as a couple back to America. I hope that's what the plan is. I can't imagine. Then there's this guy, Tim and Malaysia, and she was a hot Colombian who came over to be a nanny and met him, and they had like a cute relationship, and then she went back to Colombia only to find out that he gained weight and cheated on her. But she's forgiven him, and he's coming to supposedly marry her and live there. This one is horrible. This one is in Korea. This girl, Devon, she was a single mother with one child. For some reason, she was in Korea, met this guy who was a delivery man, got impregnated with his baby, and now she and her mother are there, and now she's realizing he has no money. They're living in squalor with the 2 kids and her mother, and she is finally like, I'm out. And he's just crying. He's like, I'm a loser, and I agree. Now, my favorite couple is our first gay male couple, Armando and Kenneth. Kenneth is 57. He looks like he's 40. It's amazing. Armando is like, I don't even think he's 30. Oh, he's 31. Thank you. He lives in a small Mexican village with his daughter from his first marriage to a woman. And for some reason, they can't live there. That part I don't get. He found another apartment, and Kenneth leaves his whole family, his life, his grandkids, everybody, to go be with Armando in this small house. And when I saw the small house, I was like, well, at least they're in Mexico. It looks like we can see the water. This is pretty cute. There's some Spanish tiles, whatever. Then they reveal there's no hot water, there's no heating, and there's no air conditioning. The nearest bank is 30 minutes away, and he doesn't speak the language, Kenneth, and he doesn't know how to like order any food, and he's upset that every restaurant is Mexican. And now Armando's like, I don't think that he could even go out and like buy a soda by himself. He's like, now I feel like I've got to like be with this guy all the time. Anyway, they did have one very good night of love making, which they like talked a lot about. And then the worst couple ever, beautiful Britney. She's a pretty black girl from Palm Beach, Florida, falls in love with Yazan from Jordan. Everyone in the family hates her. I don't understand how they have any chemistry. They're screaming at her, and he goes, well, you should have known not to say this. And she just starts screaming. She's like, how would I have known? How would I have known? I'm not from here. I don't speak the language. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the traditions. Oh my God, what did I'm like, I cannot believe that this girl just doesn't get on the plane and go, except that she's probably trying to get some followers on Instagram because she's very pretty. Now, I also want to tell you guys, my stand-up special is coming out August 7th. You can get it on Patreon. So we're going to put it on Patreon if you're part of Patreon. If not, join Patreon and you will get it on August 7th. That's patreon.com/juicyscoop. Or go to heathermcdonald.net. Or if you just want to see it that one time or tell your friends about it, it's going to be on Amazon Prime on August 7th for rent or purchase. So watch for that. I'm really proud of it. It's really great. And I know everyone needs a laugh. So I'm excited for you to see that. Also, I did move my Dallas dates to March. I was supposed to be there in August. At this time, I just felt things were way too sensitive in Texas and in LA. And I want to protect everybody's safety. But I also want you guys to know that that has been rescheduled. So everything's at heathermcdonald.net. So now I'm going to speak to Sarah Turney, who is on a mission to find out what happened to her sister who went missing many years ago. And she believes her father is the one who took her life, but also has evidence that he had been molesting her for years and may have caused the reason for why he killed her. And it is extremely juicy story. And the whole story is fascinating. So here we go with Sarah.